All right, so now we're to step two. So earlier I spoke about David Robertson. He was the one who set up Practical Lawful Dissent. So what he did, he put together 5 notices. They're legal and lawful notices. And the first one is, and so this is how you collect the evidence, right? Because you're letting those who hold those positions of so-called authority, which they actually don't have, you're putting them on notice as to your lawful standing. Or if there's some demand being made on you. So let's say, for example, the police are trying to, send you into court for something that is to do with legislation, which is nothing to do with crime. You can send in a conditional acceptance. You accept that they have authority, but they need to prove first that Article 61 is no longer in effect, right? And they never can. So this is when it becomes really hairy for them. They try and slip away without telling you. It's a bit of a circus that starts after that. So if you don't have any demands, you just send in what the notice is called lawful standing. Otherwise, it's conditional acceptance. And then the second one is a notice of default and opportunity to cure, because you're always acting in honour, giving them an opportunity to cure. The third one is a notice of default. Fourth one is aiding and abetting treason and coercion, that you're being coerced to aid and abet treason, and misprision of treason, I think it is as well. And the last one is a notice to stop. So there are 5 notices that are collecting evidence, because when they don't reply to any of those notices with any substance, because that's what they require, that proves that they are still acting against the law, right? You are letting them know you are well within the law, you're holding to the law, and you're proving that they are acting out of the law. So those notices you would keep copies of that you send, and they go by registered mail. So as soon as something's stamped by the post office, that in itself is like its own court, and that proves that it's actually been sent. Whether they open or not is irrelevant, is because you've sent it. It's time stamped. It's just like it's been stamped by a court. And then here you'll see it says seize back our buildings. So once, if we had this en masse, this is how we get everything back. So all those people who protested in Melbourne the other week, not the other day, sorry, I think it was November the 20th, 2021. I think it was somewhere between 400 to 500,000. You imagine if we just had all those people, instead of that, putting all these criminals on notice, and then we just go seize the buildings. It would have been done in a day, right? Or the police would have been forced to do their job, fulfill their oaths, and start arresting these criminals. They would have had no choice. So that's the power we really have, guys, right? Instead of just protesting, we could actually be using those numbers to come and seize all our public buildings, because they're all ours, right? They're not theirs, they're ours. So we could be seizing all of them back, and he who holds the buildings has the power, because they wouldn't be able to do anything, right? So that's Parliament House, that's the Department of Health, Vic Roads. I mean, you think about it, all those land titles offices, births, deaths and marriages, they wouldn't be able to do a thing if we were all occupying our buildings, right? And they would be forced to start coming into our courts, because we've seized them back as well, because they're our buildings, right? And this time we're going to use them for their actually intended purpose, not as star chambers as they are now, but actually as a place where there's trial by jury. And then they're just coming through as a man, no legal protection, no legislative protection, just as a man or a woman, and going to stand for their crimes under common law, right? That's that common law private prosecutions, right? That's the 5th step. And once we get rid of all of them, then we can decide what kind of system we want to run. Do we want to run with a monarchy system again, or do we want something else? But first, we've got to get rid of all the criminals, right? They need to be dealt with first. So whether you agree with this or not, this is the way to get that part out of the way and fulfill the contract that we made with ourselves, right? Not because we were born and did it, but because it's to do with natural law. And it's the way to actually expedite this process, right? So why wouldn't you want to get in behind it? That's the big question. So that's kind of the really powerful part here, right? What Article 61 is. So if you want to unite and actually do something that's going to work, here it is, because this is undeniable, right? Because it's already written. There's no way it can be denied. And all these other methods, they're all frauds. So, that's the scariest part for people, is to actually come to that place where there is one way to do things, Most people, are going to struggle with that. So I'm just going to pause. I'm back. So I just want to show you the sticker. These are things you can have on your car, for example, because, paying registration is actually aiding and abetting the crime, because these are all corporate systems. So under Article 61, I'm lawfully bound to disobey all acts, statutes, legislation as of the invocation of Security Clause 61, Magna Carta 1215 on the 23rd of March 2001. All laws, acts, statutes are no longer in legal force. So for something to have legal force, there needs to be a lawful authority, as I've discussed before. And so we don't have a legal system, we have an illegal system. And wherewith all governance and all agents of the Crown are to stand down and consider their oath. If you obstruct me or attempt to enforce defunct laws, acts, statutes, or attempt to extort money from me, please know you will be personally liable to loss of complete commercial assets and life in prison. Actions against common law is treason. I will travel, assemble, and speak freely without hindrance. So that's similar to that Victoria Police unlawful banner I had before. But now I want to show you this unicorn and why it's got chains on it, right? And it's attached to Article 61, what that symbolically means. So the unicorn is a fictional creature, right? Just like government. And so this chain means that it's how it's held down, right? So it doesn't just get out of control. So that's to symbolize that Article 61 is what holds this fictional creation, which is government, to account to the people. So that's what that symbolically means, just if you're wondering what the unicorn actually represents. So I'm going to leave it there, and then I'm going to come back and just give a few more extra details for anyone else who's interested in knowing more about the Magna Carta and its validity.